Welcome everyone to another live stream Tuesday. Sorry I had to reschedule from last week's because I wasn't feeling too good with a really bad migraine, but that's all gone now. And today we are talking about lucky colors for 2021. And in fact, if you're watching this as a replay in the future and it's 2022 or 2025, this will, the general gist of this will still be true. So I decided to do this topic because every year, every year, without fail, and I watch my Google keywords, right? I watch the keywords, and every year the keyword of lucky color for whatever year it was is usually one of the most searched keywords in the world when it comes to Feng Shui. And I wanted to talk about that because those of you who know me, those of you who've learned Flying Star Feng Shui either through me or through other schools know that there is no one single lucky color for the year. There's no one single color for everyone. There's not even one single color for people of the same astrological animal sign. Okay? As much as the world wants Chinese astrology, or as much as the world wants Feng Shui to be simple, that everything can be painted with like a big brush stroke, it's not possible and it's not logical for one lucky color to work for everyone. Okay. So if you've been wondering about that, or if you've been Googling that, you can pretty much just stop the video here, because the answer is there is no lucky color for 2021 or for any year, any specific year. The colors that you need depends on the energy that you want to activate or the energy that you want to remedy. And you guys already know, well, hopefully you've already know that in Feng Shui, there's 5 elements, right? There's fire, earth, metal, water, wood. And every year you're likely to need all these 5 elements in your home to activate the good and to remedy the bad. Okay. Now I will give you something. I will teach you a little bit in terms of generalized Feng Shui, but this is for 2021, and here's a big but. You do not use this. It's not enough to use this to Feng Shui your home for next year. Because what I am going to cover in the next few minutes is general, like absolutely general. It's almost as if you're watching a doctor on, or yeah, let's say a doctor, okay, talking a talk about, I don't know, diet for blood types, right? There is no one diet for all the blood types. There are specific diets for specific blood types, right? Type O, type A, type AB, whatever. So Feng Shui is like that too. There is no one specific thing that's good for everyone, for every home, for all the homes in the world. Okay? If this is not the answer that you want and you're mad at me, that's totally okay. It's not because I don't want to give you the answer. It's because you really have to sit down, look at your layout, look at the period of your house, look at the facing of your home, and then you decide how to deal with the energy for the year and what kind of element you need for that. Okay, so Oh, the light I have in front of me is actually really bright. It's giving me a headache right now. But I wanted to show you guys how do I do this now? I can't seem to share my thing here that I wanted to share with you guys. Hold on. Oh, picture. Okay, let me know if you guys are seeing this one. You see this? Over on this side, okay? I guess I'll sit this side so you can see me. All right, so this is the energy for the year of 2021, okay? You have the number 5, which is also called the Wu Huang or 5 yellow in the southeast, okay? I don't know, oh, I guess I can't point to it. The number 6 in the middle, number 7 in the northwest, number 8 in the east, and so on and so forth. You see all those numbers in all those 9 boxes in the 3x3 grid, okay? And all these numbers have their own element. If you want to do DIY Feng Shui at your own risk, and I have to say this is at your own risk, then the ones that you want to remedy first and foremost is the number 5, the number 7, and the number 2. Okay? For those of you guys who are trained under me, we deal with number 2 a little bit differently for those, but for the rest of you who don't have that background, the training background, the number 5, the number 7, and the number 2. Okay? What are the elements? I'm just going to lump in 5 and the 2 together. What are the elements for number 5 and the number 2? For those of you who are familiar with flying stars. What are the elements for number 5 and number 2? They're earth. Okay. And considering, well, these are considered negative. And the element that weakens, earth element, is metal. So the general idea is to remedy the number 5 and the number 2 with metal. However, there are certain situations where too much metal will in fact trigger other situations. Okay, so for instance, I've got my handy dandy period chart here. So for instance, if we remedy with metal for period 8 facing east 1, for instance. Okay, the period 8 facing east 1 has water star 7 over there in the southeast. I know this is going to be really confusing for you guys, but this is just how the a proper Feng Shui consultant's eyes look at all these numbers, okay? For a house that is period 8, meaning they moved into the house after 2004, and it's facing east 1, not just east, but east 1, the first 15 degrees of east, okay? For period 8 facing east 1, for instance, they have the water star number 7 there. So if you put more metal, because you're thinking, oh, number 5 is in the southeast, I have to put more metal there. But if you put too much metal, you're actually going to trigger financial blockages. So what you think is a remedy can actually activate certain things, okay? Thus not giving you the results that you seek, okay? The other thing is look at number 3 in the southwest, okay? All those generalized Feng Shui articles out there in books, online, they tell you, okay, to remedy number 3 in the Southwest, you put more fire. You put more reds, you put more yellows, oranges. But if you're period 8 and you're facing Southwest 1, for instance. So again, if you moved in after 2004 and your house is facing Southwest 1, again, the first 15 degrees of Southwest 1, and in your head, oh, the number 3 is in the Southwest, which is a wood element. And to weaken the wood, you use fire. And just by looking at the general idea, you're like, oh, okay, let me DIY this. Let me put more fire in the Southwest corner. So more fire in the Southwest would have worked for almost everyone except for houses of certain periods and certain facings. So if you put more fire and you happen to be, put more fire in the Southwest and you happen to be period 8, Southwest 1 as an example, your remedy actually now will raise an issue in your health and your relationships. I know I'm confusing a lot of you. Because honestly, and I don't know why, no one warns you of this. No one warns you about generalized Feng Shui. In the past few weeks, I've gotten many messages and many emails about people who have done generalized Feng Shui and got themselves into big trouble because no one warned them. You cannot do your Feng Shui, your lucky colors for the year, like for that period 8 Southwest 1, was red the lucky color in the Southwest area? No. Because proper Feng Shui colors or the elements that you need there, you need to look at so many different factors before landing on, okay, what's the best element, i.e. color being one way of doing it, right? So that's the thing. So people will do their annual Feng Shui, people will read articles about annual Feng Shui, or buy books about annual Feng Shui and look at this chart. They're being fed this chart over here, okay? This chart over here. But they're not really, doesn't really drill down to homes that are specific to your period, specific to your facing. Okay? So is there a lucky color for the year? No. There's not one generalized lucky color for every house, for every person. No such thing. The color or the element that you need for each of your homes, each direction in your home, depends on the period and the facing of your house. That, my friends, unfortunately, is proper Feng Shui. Okay. So Abby's asking, how do you learn about lucky colors? Well, you can join me in Feng Shui 2021. That's one way. That is the safest way. I know this is a plug, right? But that's only because the way I've built my annual training is really the safest way that I can come up with for people to put in the right colors, to put in the right element in all the directions in their house while still keeping an eye on their permanent energy, which is based on their period and their facing. Okay. Stop doing generalized Feng Shui. Because Feng Shui is never, ever, was never generalized. Especially when it comes to dealing with the energies, the permanent energies and how it coincides with the annual. Okay. Not a popular answer, I know, but I'm here to tell you the truth. because no one is telling you the truth. And I don't know why. It's on them when you give people half the picture and they get negative results from it. It is on those books and those articles to deal with the energy that results from bad results. And I don't want that on my conscience. Okay. So it's what you need to know. Exactly. Okay. So in a nutshell, if you've been guilty of Googling what's the best lucky color for the year, now you know. Stop Googling, because there is no generalized thing. Okay. Any questions? My head is hurting from this light here, but I think let me scroll up just to see. Oh, that's a good question, Christina. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay. Christina's asking, how much does front door color of kitchen cabinets, or front door color or kitchen cabinets, affect the energy of the room, considering they are usually wood, at least in my house? Because they are permanent structural elements in a house, then it definitely matters a lot. Okay. And just like there's no generalized lucky color for the year, there's also no generalized lucky color for your door. Every time I see a red door, I'm like, oh dear, did someone eat some fast food feng shui when I see a red door? Because again, red in the wrong direction is really bad. Really, really bad. Okay. But front door and kitchen cabinets, like, it's not cheap to resurface or repaint kitchen cabinets. So if you're putting anything in, you should preferably make sure what kind of element you need in that direction, right? Then you paint it accordingly. And of course, like doors and kitchen cabinets, how many different elements can you use? It's either wood or a metal, right? Yeah. But if you can't have it in like the proper element itself, then at least you follow up with the right color of the element. Does that make sense, Christina? Yeah. Oh, glass. Oh, good question. I've been getting a lot of this. So glass, there's been the element of glass. So there's been, let me just put this up there. There's been some chatter or disagreements about what is the element for glass and mirrors, I should say. Okay. Glass is, if you look at what is the main component of glass, it's mainly silica, and that is considered earth element. So glass or crystals, that's considered earth. However, if it's a mirror, that's another thing to consider, because what changes a glass into a mirror is that reflective metal coating at the back, right? So there is metal there. So mirrors would have metal and earth. However, my caveat is, at least for one I normally see, most mirrors have more of they have a thicker coating of the glass compared to the coating or the layer of the metal. So for me, mirror is still predominantly earth element and not metal. Okay. Abby's asking, my house was built approximately 2007 and faces northeast. So how do you calculate that? Well, I don't go over that in Feng Shui 2021. In terms of calculating, I only teach that in the certification course. But in our school, we only base it on your move-in day and not the construction day. So that's the difference between my Grandmaster's Feng Shui lineage and other schools, is that we use your move-in date. If you wanna calculate the flying star, there are calculators out there. You put in your move-in date and you put in your facing, and it'll calculate the flying star for you. But the tricky bit after that is to figure out what to do with the numbers. I don't cover that, and it's not something I can cover on a live stream. I do teach all that in my certification course, which is happening January 21st till the 24th. It's half full right now. I'm doing interviews because I'm not taking everyone. I'm interviewing before I offer, before I decide whether or not to offer someone the chance to apply to register. So, but if you want to calculate, there are so many calculators online. The tricky bit is don't put, well, I guess it doesn't matter for you. 2007 is still period 8. But for everyone else, if you want to use the calculator, the part where they ask the construction date, you actually put in your move-in date. Okay. Ms. May, are you offering a discount coupon code? I did for the first 300 people who registered for Feng Shui 2021. Every year I would have fast action or early bird pricing. The first 300 signups were taken up back in September, unfortunately. So right now there is a charge to register right now, but you can see from some of the comments that I got from other people who've taken the annual training, is that if you really break down to it, it's still worth it. I know, and I understand a lot of people are out of work right now, but if you want to, in fact, someone is here, I don't know if you're willing to share it, about how her husband was looking for a job, I think close to 2 years, but then she actually took my certification course, and then she took my date selection training, which was part of the Feng Shui 2021. And her husband not only got a job, but his contract, I believe, went from 6 months to a year and a half. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you're willing to share it as a quick comment there. But if you really boil it down, like $108 US divided by 365 days of the year, it's, I think, 28 cents a day to get your house feng shui for the year. So I know for some parts of the world, 108 US is still a lot, but I do give out a ton of information in the annual training. Information that I must say you cannot find anywhere else. So no discount code at the moment. But every year around August, I will have a discount code for fast action takers. So watch out for that next year. Vicky's asking for things that will last more than 1 year, such as front door, wall, paint. Do you use the permanent energy element? Absolutely. I don't expect anyone to repaint their walls or repaint their door every year. It just doesn't make sense. Okay. See, you're getting comments from other people who say it's worth every penny. I didn't pay them to say that. And some of them have been doing the annual training for quite a few years now. Okay, so Daisy's asking, house numbers. A friend said your number of house can relate to luck, etc. So it's not Feng Shui, okay? In Feng Shui, we don't look at house numbers. And so, like, I've had a client, they want to buy a house, it's number 4 or number 24, and they say, oh, 4 is bad in Feng Shui. And I'm like, who says so? 4 is actually considered lucky. It's creativity. It's academic. It's relationship luck, number 4. But number 4 is seen as negative in the Chinese community, in the Chinese cultural perspective, right? But in a Feng Shui perspective, there's nothing wrong with the number 4. But there is something called numerology, and I'm not trained in numerology. So the funny thing is, when we were house hunting, obviously I had to look at the Feng Shui of the house, which already makes house hunting is already pretty tough. But once you add on the Feng Shui as another requirement, that makes house hunting even harder. And my husband, who's usually very skeptical with things, he actually believes in numerology. And he also only wants certain numbers for the house. I believe, I don't even remember, like number 9, number 8, I think 4 and 6 or something like that. I don't remember. So whatever house that we land on must have good Feng Shui for me and good numerology for him to want to buy the house. So there is some truth to numerology for house numbers, but I'm not the expert in that. I've just read, a couple of books. I'm not going to claim expertise from it, but you guys can definitely look at that. But numerology is different from Feng Shui. Numerology is another way of examining the energy. It's not Feng Shui. I'm not knocking it. It's just 2 separate wisdoms. Okay. So that's my answer to Daisy's question. Okay. Thank you, everyone, chiming in about about how much you guys love my annual training. It is a lot of I have to say, I do pour in a lot into the annual training. If I can't teach something properly, I won't teach it. If I can't do something properly, I won't do it, especially if it affects other people. If I'm the only one who reaps the negative effects of something that's done half-ass, pardon the language, that's fine. It only affects me. But I am, and I wish more Feng Shui consultants or people who put out Feng Shui information would think the same thing as me, in that whatever information that I put out, I need to make sure that I don't harm anyone. Okay. And I've gotten this question lots of times, like, Safrina, are you gonna I think just yesterday or 2 days ago, but I've been getting this a lot, especially now that I'm teaching the Flying Star certification course. People are also asking me about the Chinese astrology certification course. Even though I've been doing Chinese astrology for years and years now, if you guys think Feng Shui is multi-layered, wait till you study Chinese astrology. It is a mind F. And I still, even after all these years, I think at least 10 years now that I've been doing Chinese astrology, I still don't feel like I've mastered Chinese astrology enough to teach it. It's only when I am well versed in all the intricacies of the pillars and the combinations and the special locations that they're in, only then I will teach Chinese astrology. Okay. I am not going to, and and that's part of the reason I don't call myself a master. Even for Feng Shui, I have not spent my personal definition of a master is someone who have spent at least half their lives honing their skills in one topic, right? Like my grandmaster right now in Malaysia, he's in his 60s. He's been studying Feng Shui, I believe, in his 20s. That's a master, right? I'm in my early 40s. I've read up on Feng Shui on my own, but really like putting the proper Feng Shui practice into my life and into my clients' lives. It's only been 11 years. I think I'm coming up to 12 years now. Okay. I know it's just a number, but I feel like I haven't spent enough of my lifetime to call myself a master in something. So it's very funny when people say, oh, you know, I worked with a Feng Shui master, and when you look at it, they were like certified 2 years ago. I just laugh because that's their definition. My definition is different. So in terms of that's my guideline or my measuring stick in terms of what will I teach, what kind of products or services will I put out. People ask me, Safrina, why don't you write a book? I tried. I started like 4 or 6 years ago. I started writing a Feng Shui book, and I stopped because I don't want to print out a half-ass Feng Shui book. But then to put everything that I know in a book, that's going to take me years, and it got really overwhelming, and I stopped. Right? So so that's the thing. So the way I did Feng Shui 2021 or any of my annual training is, like I mentioned in my Facebook group a few days ago, this is the safest way that I can think of for everyone to do their annual Feng Shui specific to their home. I look at your layout. How many of you guys can buy a Feng Shui book or read a Feng Shui article or even attend all the other Feng Shui consultants annual training and have them look at each and everyone's layout? Not many. But I do it because I want to make sure we get it right for you. Okay. So thank you everyone for the amazing comments that I'm seeing pop up here. Oh, Erlinda is asking, last year I put my salt jar inside a vase to camouflage from visitors, but the salt overflowed and went to the vase. Is it okay for me to wash the vase and reuse it, or should I throw it away? So, you don't need to clean that vase. You can just put like a new salt cure in there. If you want to wash it, maybe it's got a lot of crystallizations. If you need to wash it, I would make sure I've got gloves, right? Because you don't want the water or the salt to get on you. And if you whatever that you're washing it with, you throw that out, like be it a sponge or a scrubber or whatever, you throw that out after you're done. And the water that you have in there, don't throw it down your drain, like not down your toilet bowl or your sink. Okay, you have to bring it outside and pour it down like a storm drain or something. Okay. Or if it's not expensive, get rid of it. But if it's something that you really like and it's a little bit more expensive, then you can reuse it. But the caveat is you have to be very, very, very careful when you're cleaning it. Okay. Okay. Abby's saying, I have 2 Feng Shui books that don't agree with one another. How many of you guys know the pain of this? How many of you guys know the pain of this one? One book says this, another book says that. And you get a third book, you're going to get something else. Right? Well, one of the reasons is, One of the reason is it could be you're looking at two different schools of Feng Shui, right? One could be fast food Feng Shui, one could be 8 mansions, one could be flying star, right? So, and different schools look at different things, right? Like the 8 mansion looks at the sitting of the house, flying star looks at the facing of the house, things like that. So that's the thing. So if you guys have not registered for my free video series, please do. That actually, it doesn't cover all the different schools of Feng Shui or methods of Feng Shui, but it will help demystify, I guess, or clear up some confusion why these books talk about different things. Okay, I have the link over there, bit.ly/Feng Shui Schools series. Okay, so any other questions before I let you guys go? Oh, Lydia, does it mean that we can reuse the glass jar? No, the salt cure glass jar, the whole salt cure goes. I was talking about the container that she puts the salt cure in. Never, ever, never, 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 ever reuse the salt cure jar. That has to go. Okay. Patsy says, yeah, I have gotten sick every time I got saltwater cure residue on me. I just put on gloves, wrap it up in a plastic, and take it straight to the trash can outside. Yes. Yeah. It's usually like just on the lower side. If you accidentally touch it, you'll get like headache or you'll get sick or something. But I've had a client where like the son was playing and accidentally tipped it over, and him and his wife, they were wiping it with bare hands, wiping it with bare hands, and only because it's natural reaction, right? There's water all over, so you just take the paper towel and you wipe it, and it's only like midway he was like, oh shoot, we don't have our gloves on, right? And unfortunately, things in his business went a little topsy-turvy for a little bit there. It was a little touch and go. So that's the thing. Neda, what are they? There's so many different styles of Feng Shui. There's many explanations for this, but it's just one. So Feng Shui traditionally was only meant for royalties. This is one of the, this is not for all the schools, but I believe it's, I could be wrong, but it could be 8 mansions. But the emperor, the Chinese emperor, would have his Feng Shui master and everything, but they did not want their people, their citizens, to change their lives with Feng Shui. And so there was a command by, I forgot what emperor, I'm not really good with my history, tells the Feng Shui master to come up with another method of Feng Shui to kind of lead people the wrong way. Okay? And so a school of Feng Shui, it starts out true teachings or true practice, but then there's also false information that is purposely being put out there so that the Chinese people don't rise up and change their lives with it. So that's one. And another is a lot of the Chinese Feng Shui books, like the ancient texts, a lot of them are like poems, right? They're very cryptic. They don't say something outright. It's all done in like beautiful poems and all that. And so every reader would have a different interpretation of the verses. And that's why Feng Shui scholars would also argue with each other and say, no, this verse means that. No, this verse means some other thing. So that's why there's also different formulas, different thinkings, and all that. So that's why you see those different branches, or even within the same school of Feng Shui, there's a lot of disagreement. Like even in Flying Star, right? The disagreement of basing the period on, is it the year when the first tenants move in? Is it the construction year, or is it the move-in year of the current tenant? So even within the masters of one's method of Feng Shui, unfortunately, there's still no, for a lot of the foundational pieces of information, there's a lot of disagreements. But how do you know if what you're learning is that you're on the right path? Is look for the proof, look for the results. If whatever Feng Shui book that you're doing, right? Hopefully it's classical. If it gives you good results, then you can keep going with that author, with that school, right? But even the students who took my certification, like I've spent the past decade fixing other consultants' mistakes, okay? And some of those mistakes resulted in really bad results for the clients. And it makes me so happy when I hear my students, now that they've got the same textbook that I learned from a decade ago, they come away with a textbook and they start doing consults on people who have had other Feng Shui consultants, meaning they're from other schools. And yet my students are able to give the clients the results that they seek, right? So the proof is in the pudding. And that's why I am so grateful to be in the lineage that I am in. Okay. Oh, Lydia, can you elaborate on the flying stars in December when Feng Shui stars are, the monthly stars are doubling with the annual stars? Is there any significance to it? Yes. This is part of the reason why back in, I think September, was it September? Those of you guys in Feng Shui 2021, I did like a quiet little post and said, don't panic, but start stocking up on food. Because what I saw in December and January is there's going to be shortages. Not just from the panic buying, but also logistic stuff, right? Correct me, I don't remember what month I did that post in the private Facebook group. I think it could be September. So yeah, so the double, so in December, the monthly stars are exactly the same as the annual stars. Hence why we're seeing a second wave of COVID worldwide. Because the number 7 is illness and stress and loss. And the number 7 also denotes, in terms of body parts, it also denotes the mouth, the lungs, the respiratory system, basically. And this is why the energy doubling up, the negative energy is going to be doubled, and the positive energy is also going to be doubled for December. But the negative energy doubling up is more of a concern, especially now that we know that there's COVID going around.